Good morning, everyone. It's Haley Gibbs from Hustle and Glow Podcast. I hope you're doing well today. This morning, we're just going to be talking about, life, hustle, motherhood. Whether you're behind in laundry, behind the chair, or in the chair, I have something to say to all of you. Join me. Let's get into it. So, if you're the age of 30, you're probably moisturizing. And if you're not, you should start. Only because I like to moisturize my skin every day so that I don't have to get Botox. I'm not discouraging any of my Botox ladies because I have fillers and I love Botox and fillers. I'm just trying to beauty budget my forehead by keeping it moist, and my under eyes and my smile lines. Right now I'm using Clinique moisturizer. This is my favorite non-fragranced. There we go. And now I'm just letting that dry. So today I'm going into work. I gotta do my mom's hair. I gotta do another client's hair. And I'm excited because my last client of the day is a new client and I can't wait. Gonna slay that hair. Who here dermaplanes their face that way their makeup just straight slays and I don't want to say eats, but straight eats on the skin. A lot of the times if you don't dermaplane your skin, basically the makeup will sit on top of the hair. Never a vibe, because you can just see it lay. And if you are 30 years old, you might have some acne that looks like this. I be going to the gym all the time, so that's why, I got some problematics. Herbal tea time. It's good. Alright, so today I'm going to be doing my foundation, showing you what that looks like, because I be looking like a ghost. Spooky. Every time I put on my foundation, my 3-year-old son's always like, "Mommy, you look like a ghost." Then I bronze it out and everybody's like, "Oh my god, that looks so good, girl." I'm like, I know. But if you're in this process with me, you're like, "What the heck is she doing?" I promise you, just trust the process. I like to always start lighter. That way, when I blend it, and I got room to go darker when I put my bronzer on. If you buy the exact shade that your face is, as far as right now I have a spray tan, so I'm darker than I normally am. But if you buy the same shade that your face is and not lighter, you have no room to bronze out, contour, nothing. Because you're already dark or, light, whatever the color or case may be. But for me, girl, I wear bronzer like people wear underwear, okay? And I wear underwear too. Just want to make that clear in case my husband is watching. And then I get all up in my hairline. That's definitely not my favorite part, is getting into this hairline. I ain't gonna lie to you. Today I'm getting my hair bleached, so I'm excited for that because you're no longer gonna see these nice dark roots. Not like they ain't slaying, but it's just time to go blonde. And I told you before in my last couple of videos, but if you're new here, I like to pat it into my pores. I am a big pore girly. And my eyebrows are slaying. My best friend does my eyebrows, Jacqueline Hall at Lux Beauty and Glow Bar. If you're looking for a new brow tech, she is that. They're beautiful. Alright, so now we're gonna do our powder. So recently, I've been going to work and meeting a lot of new faces and new clients from the internet, which I'm so grateful for. Thank you everybody that has been sharing, liking, commenting, staying alive, staying alert. Appreciate it. And I just kind of wanted to say thank you and touch upon that. See? Look at that. Smooth like a baby's butt. I don't even know what I was saying half the time, but y'all still be watching, so I'm here for it. I kind of want to do a different makeup look, but I'm so stuck on who I am right now. I'm doing like nudes and naturals. I don't know what's been going on. This ring light's definitely helping with lighting for anybody that's been watching my last videos. My husband likes to watch my videos and roast me, so I know that he is gonna enjoy this light. He'll be like, baby, that light looks so good now. I'm gonna be like, thank you, daddy. Beautiful. Right now we're building our base. And I ain't gonna lie to you ladies, girl, my makeup stay all day. I rarely ever have to touch it up unless I'm back to back to back on some hair appointments. Then I might sweat it out a little bit. Beautiful. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about beauty biz and hustle. Slow season doesn't mean no season. How to stay booked and busy during the summer slump. Something that I like to do is obviously play into the holidays. If some of you have seen our reels about the 4th of July, you know, we usually will try to get the girls that work for us to like do the cool videos. That way it's engaging. And then like when they come into the salon for their appointment, they're like, oh my gosh, I saw you on TikTok or I saw you on Instagram. And it just plays that way really well. So for us, we like to run like, you know, a certain type of discount for like whenever the kids are home, because obviously you're spending more money in food to feed the kids when they're home from school for the summer. You know, we are always favoring moms, and even if you're not a mom, we're still favoring teachers or anybody that's out of school or in school for the children. That way we can try to bring the mom clientele in or the teacher clientele in. Something else too that a lot of stylists have a hard time talking with that I feel like I've mastered after the last 11 years is raising prices without the guilt. You know, why your glow up deserves compensation. So obviously, you know, we spend tons of money on, you know, education, time, learning your craft, going to school, you name it, student loans. But also, you know, it's the economy, everything changes year to year. So it really just depends, you know, on what's going on with the situation of the world. So for me, like, you know, color, I used to feel like I used to buy it for like $3 a bottle. Now it's 10. So I feel like I see so many stylists, especially like I'm on the beauty pages and blogs, and they're like, I'm struggling to raise my prices, this and that. I understand if like you have an elderly clientele and you've been servicing them for 15 years and you've been charging the same prices, but you have to understand that, like, I don't want to say like you shouldn't be mad at your clients. You should really place the blame on yourself that you hadn't set the expectation from day one regarding like year to year that prices increase, or again, based on the economy or how you decide to play that. But you can't have resentment towards your clients, or they're showing up faithfully every 4 to 6 weeks and you're like, oh, I'm doing, you know, blah, 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 but I only make $80 or $40. And that is your fault. That is not your client's fault. That's your fault. And you should have put the boundary into play a long time ago, but it's never too late to fix the situation. You can always get a boundary, but like once you set something, you can't go back on it. So what I mean by that is whenever we do our menus or our pricing, which we do quarterly pricings where we check all the salons locally in town, and we put subject to change, you know, in that aspect, that's what we like to do as far as clients can't hold us to, well, this is what it says. You know, every case, all hair is just different. So I couldn't say like, yes, this is going to charge this or that. Unless I fully have prospected your hair and I see it in person and I've got my hands in it, then I can give you a straight quote. We try to do our best estimate-wise by seeing photos before things, but unless we're in person consultating, it's very difficult to give an extreme accurate price. So that's how I try to help with like, don't feel bad. Get what you're worth for the glow up. It's important, especially for you as a stylist, that you remain happy. That way you can service your clients the best. But also being reasonable and checking everywhere locally to make sure that you're in tune with pricing. So who here is healing and glowing? Your girl. Healing while hustling is extremely important to talk about, because I think that in today's world, you know, a lot of people don't talk about how mothers are struggling, or even if you're not a mom, just struggling in general, working full time, 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week, balancing all of life. So that's what I'm here for, as far as healing and glowing while hustling. And again, I think it's important to talk about, so we're going to talk about it. How to show up basically when you're still working through the mess. Something that, like, for my career specifically, is basically what I have to do is show on. Show must go on at all times. I would consider it very much so, like, you know how, like, celebrities or, you know, performers, I would say, more so performers, when they have to go sing on stage and, you know, their whole world's falling apart, or something's going on, or something just happened, and they still gotta go sing their song. Well, I still gotta go do my hair. I still gotta perform and execute, and my client's looking for me to show up for them and be there for them. So that's what I do. And a lot of the times, you know, it is hard, but it's not impossible. It's really just a mind frame thing, you know? And I would say that if you're going through things that are so bad that you can't perform well behind the chair or do the best for your client, do not go to work that day. Because it's going to reflect in your hair, your attitude. They're going to instantly know something's up, and they're probably going to take it personal and think that, hey, like, did I do something wrong? Like, are you not vibing with me? Like, what's the deal here? So I've always think for myself with my clients, if you just keep it real and be like, hey girl, I'm having a really bad day today. You do not want to come get your hair done by me today, but I could take you tomorrow. I just got to get through this today. They respect it so much more. And no, I have never lost a client from keeping it real like that. It doesn't happen often, but if it ever does, or, you know, if it ever has, they are like, girl, we get it. You balance a lot, you juggle a lot, you do a lot. They're never like, you know, oh my gosh. And again, obviously, if it's like a super important thing, or, you know, if I've made a commitment, I'm not breaking my commitment. But if it's just a regular root touch-up that I do every 4 to 6 weeks, you know, if she can come in tomorrow, then that's what I'm doing, girl. You know what I mean? And again, I think it's important, not for just hairdressers, but in general. Everybody needs like a work day that you just get yourself feeling. Self-care. What are some of the things that you guys like to do in order to balance and manage self-care? Something that I like to do my makeup. I would say that if I don't have my makeup on, I'm probably burnt out. And by that, I mean full-heartedly, I'm burnt out. If I ain't showing up for me, then I'm burnt out. And something else that I like to do is just, you know, going to get my tea in the morning, having a good day, making sure that I say my prayers in the morning. That always gets me going good in the morning. That way I can just, you know, go about my day in faith and carry on a good vibe for myself, my family, my job, you know, my clients, show up for them right. So another thing that I've been talked about, so another thing that I feel like a lot of times podcasts don't really touch on this is friendship breakups in your 30s. I've not had one recently, but I definitely have had some over the last 5 years. And I would say that, like, people that I started in like 18 to my early 20s that are no longer here with me now, and I'm not saying that they're not alive, I'm saying that they're just not at my table anymore. Still wish you the best. But it's not touched on a lot, you know. I think that so many times, like, we talk about or hear about, you know, high schoolers or teenagers or children's friends, or, you know, there's dramas with your 13 or your 14-year-old, but we don't really talk about, you know, grown women or grown men or your husband's friends or your wife's friends, of how situations play out, or, you know, seeing the other side of things that we've never really thought that we would see before. And people tend to surprise us all the time as far as intentions, good or bad. You know, I'm not necessarily saying like friendship breakups, but also, you know, you might have met your best friend in your 30s. And for me, that's one of my cases is, you know, my late 20s, I met one of my best friends, and that was life-changing for me. You know, we not only show up for each other in business, but we also show up for each other outside of business, which is nice, but we have a great balance. And that's not with everybody. Not everybody can understand that, you know? But it has taken years of built balance. But like I said, I see a lot of girls on TikTok, you know, talking about, I would say in their early 20s, not in their 30s, about friendship breakups, because probably in your 30s, like, you know, you're chilling with your kids, your man, whatever you got going on, your girlfriend, your wife. But again, sometimes things happen. Sometimes, you know, you might get married, or you fall out, or, you know, your girl messed around with your old man, or whatever the case may be. But I think it's important to shed light on that more, because when I'm in the salon, I do hear a lot of talk about that, of like, oh, we're not friends anymore. Oh, we're not friends anymore. And I'm like, girl, y'all was just friends last week. What you mean? What you mean? But it happens, you know? More so than I think that we talk about, especially because we are older. So we're like, nope, just shove it under the rug. We're not going to talk about that. But you deserve to heal in peace. And if talking about it makes that feel better, girl, you do that. Boy, you do that. So I would say too, one of the last subjects I'm going to talk about while I'm doing my makeup this morning, or I should say one of the last few. So I'm going to try to keep this going for as long as my routine takes today. Co-parenting while married. What does that look like? I would say that probably a lot of you have great co-parenting relationships. For me, that is not the case. My husband and I struggle immensely, and have struggled immensely with my child's, for a very, very, very long time. And not because I'm bitter or any type of situation, mainly because my husband and I do our absolute best to try to protect our child together, because, you know, that's what you do when you're married. You look out for the best of your children. And it's hard sometimes when you're working with an individual that doesn't have the same goals, boundaries, intentions, wellness for your young child, you know, and that's definitely made our life harder, but we balance it out the best that we can. Let's look. Something else that we could talk about today is, while healing and glowing, you know, a lot of couples in today's world, because we're so busy working, we're so busy parenting, you know, there is that emotional or physical disconnect. You know, I'd be lying to you guys if I said that me and my own husband haven't gone through something similar like that, because, you know, days get long, hours are exhausting, and we're working, like, I would say 20 times harder than our parents that raised us, because, you know, rent was not $1,600, $2,000 whenever we were growing up. So, you know, they didn't experience basically the life that we're living now, and how hard it is to pull it together. Especially if you are a business owner or you're not a business owner. Either way, if you're cracking that mortgage, rent, you know, car payments, you name it, daycare, it is god awful, you know. It has been absolutely draining. And obviously with draining, you know, when you're already trying to make it all work and raise your children, it's hard to come together at the end of the night and be like, hey baby, what's going on? How are you? Because you're just like, oh my gosh, like, it's been the day. And like I said, my husband and I have definitely experienced that in our own situation. But I would say that him and I are very self-aware. And him and I both don't have a problem with speaking up or bringing things to each other. You know, like, hey baby, like, you know, this has been bothering me. Or, hey baby, lately, you know, XYZ. And that's how we usually do it. We do check-ins. And I'm not saying that everybody checks in, but, you know, for us, we can tell, like, when we're both burnt out, or we need a little bit of extra love, or some dates, or some one-on-one time without, you know, our son. And, you know, mostly we do everything together with our son, but sometimes mom and dad need some mom and dad time, you know? And I know a lot of parents can't get mom and dad time, but I highly recommend it, as far as, you know, once a month, once every 2 months, at least going to dinner. That way you guys can like hold hands, not get the kids out of the car seat, you know, something like that. Because it definitely will bring you back together and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't, you know, dislike you. It's just that life was overwhelming. And I think that that's sometimes nice because you're like, I thought I lost you. And you're like, no, we've just been overworked and underpaid. I like that. And something that, like, you know, again, if you don't have a village, because not everybody has one. Me and my husband have a very, very small village. You know, doing things with your kids too. My husband and I absolutely love bonding. You know, whenever we have something planned with our son and us. We went to McKee Botanical Gardens out in Vero recently, and it was just so beautiful. And as much as a lot of our parents on here are like, oh, well, you know, I just want to spend time without the kids. You know, I think for me and my husband, we bond and like we love parenting together. That's something that's different with him and I. So, you know, we had a beautiful experience, and it was so nice, like, watching our son be like, oh my gosh, mommy, daddy, like, look at the lily pads, look at the frogs, like, you know, it's just cool seeing that. And my husband and I have raised my son together since he was 2, so, you know, we've gone from him barely being able to walk, talk, to now fully talking in full sentences, jumping crazy. You know, it's been crazy to watch evolve as far as growth. It's been really cool. And we really like doing things like that. So it was romantic for me and my husband, but it was also cool because like we got to share the experience with our son, and I like that. A lot of the times too, I would say that I've realized with other stylists or salon owners, because I'm a part of like a lot of forums, I have a lot of friends, I've taught at a Redken school, people struggle with boundaries. And by that, I mean client boundaries, you know, in general, salon boundaries, saying no, enforcing policies, and protecting your peace. That's extremely important in the work environment. And for myself personally, you know, I have no problem talking to anybody that works for me. I'm not confrontational by any means, but I am upfront as far as like, you don't ever have to guess, like, is Haley mad at me? Did I do something wrong to upset you? I'm very like, hey, like, you know, we need to sit down and have a talk. This is what's going on. This is how I feel. You know, how are we going to move on from this to make it better? And again, whether it comes to clients, people that work at Lux, my salon, in general, you know, you just have to have boundaries. That's how you protect your inner peace. And that's kind of what I mean by hustle and glow, you know, healing, beauty biz. All of it plays a big role, and you can't be your best version for anybody if you don't have boundaries. And so some of the things that, like, you know, I like to talk about with my girls that work for me, booking deposits. If you have, like, just like tattoos or, you know, co-pays at doctor's offices, you name it, it basically signs you up for, you're going to pay, you're going to show up, no call, no show type of thing. If a client doesn't want to put a deposit down that is applied to their final service ticket, 9 out of 10 chances they're not going to come to their appointment. If they're unconfirmed on our Square booking app, they're not going to come to their appointment. People that want to show up will show up. People that are coming don't care if they have to pay a booking deposit because they're going to be there. And they know that it's coming off their final bill. And so that's where, you know, I've had so many people sit around with no call, no shows, or a girl books an appointment, or a man or a gentleman books an appointment and they just don't show up. You don't hear from them. You're calling them like, hi, it's blah, blah time. Where are you? And I learned a long time ago in my career that that's not something that I'm willing to play with. You know, whether you're new, old client, for me, it just ensures no call, no show. And my time is just as valuable as theirs. So, you know, that's how I like to run it. And I think that that's an important boundary. And again, I think clients kind of respect it because they're like, all right, like my girl's gonna be there, you know? They're not guessing if you're gonna be busy or overbooked or not be able to accommodate their appointment at that slot either, because they know they paid their booking deposit. And that's just a policy that, you know, we like to carry forward for our salon, for booking services. Well, guys, I've done basically all my chit-chatting today. Sorry about my hair being up today, but I'm going to go get my hair done today at work. So stay tuned for some nice, beautiful blonde. I'm gonna miss my rooted look, but I know it'll be back in less than 2 weeks. Cash's birthday party, our son, is in less than 18 days. I can't even believe it. He's gonna be 4. We're having a full nightmare before Christmas birthday party theme, so you'll see a lot of that on here. But thank you so much for tuning in, and if you haven't already, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, follow my YouTube channel, and we'll touch base tomorrow. Have a great one, guys.